feel like you're doing all the right things, but you're still feeling scattered, this episode is for you. It's time to stop spinning and starting from leading from alignment again. Welcome to A Leader's Purpose Podcast. My name is Tami, and I'm your host, and this podcast is for high-level leaders ready to live, lead, and decide from alignment, not autopilot. And so if you've been feeling scattered lately, if you feel like your team is really busy but just not accomplishing things, if you're busy and you're making the moves, but something still feels off, you're not lazy, you're not behind, but you are likely operating from an unconscious pattern that's clouding the clarity and making you second guess your next step. When I started researching the time focus, when I started looking at how our time focus, past, present, and future, really affects each of us as a leader, as a human, I started the research actually for myself, like, why am I feeling this way? And then I started diving in and I realized that I've always been busy, but there's times I never seem clear. So today we're going to unpack one of the most overlooked reasons high capacity leaders feel stuck and how to start moving with clarity and confidence again. But the subconscious, okay? You're like, Tami, okay, the subconscious, how do I bring it to consciousness? We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you some thoughts that you might have, and then we're going to talk about what to do about it and really a way to reframe it. Because again, we are going to use the lens of the Enneagram here because I find that it's one of the tools that cuts through all the minutia, cuts through all of the extra and gets to the heart of things right away. And so what is time focus? Because time focus is not about productivity. It's about perspective. You're either stuck in overthinking, hustling for momentum, or reacting to the moment, and it's exhausting. And so when we understand ourselves, when we understand what's going on in our core, then we're able to make adjustments. We're able to rise above what's limiting us and really lean into it as a strength. And so the time focus in general is just the time orientation that can quietly shape your decisions, reactions, and energy patterns. So I've already mentioned there's three focuses: past, present, future. So we're going to use the lens of the Enneagram so we can get to the heart right away, because the future of leadership is not going to be about who knows the most, who has the most skills. It's going to be centered around creativity, knowing your strengths and values, and getting so clear on how you're wired that you can elevate and enhance your productivity, your efficiency, and your team. And so we're going to dive in. We're going to start with the past. So my past focus types are my individualist, investigators, and peacemakers, my 4, 5s, and 9s. And those who are rooted in the past are deeply reflective. They often ruminate or get stuck in processing. They feel anchored in memory, in lost or an idealized version of what once was. They tend to hesitate to act until everything makes sense. So they tend to reference what was to explain what is. They often are nostalgic, regretful, or contemplative, and may struggle to move forward until the past kind of feels resolved. And so they get stuck. They make their decisions based on what's happened in the past. So some of the common phrases that you may be thinking or some of your team may be saying, and you can identify if it's a past orientation, is, I keep thinking about what happened. That reminds me of a time. I should have done it differently. And even though I'm not a past time person, like some of these resonate with me too. But when I got to the present focus, which I'll get to in a moment, it's, oh yeah, that is definitely how I react to things. But back to common phrases. I don't want to make that mistake again. I miss when things felt simpler. I just need more time to think about it. It doesn't feel right yet. It worked last time. Why change it? So some of the things that some of the leadership impacts for the past focused, the past orientation, is they may struggle to move forward decisively or trust the current opportunities. If they haven't experienced it before, they're pulling from details from the past. And so if they don't have something to anchor it to, a lot of times they may struggle to move forward. And it's not because they can't make a decision. It's because it's a decision that they don't have the understanding for. They don't have the purview. They don't have a foundation for it. And also this can look like they delay decisions or resist change or get caught in self-comparison or loss. And it's, again, because of that foundation of what's past. And when they're heading into something in the present, when they're heading into a future change, they're still pulling from what was to explain what is. And so one thing we could do to reframe this is we can ask ourselves, what's true now and what's forward facing and aligned? What can I do with bringing in the past information, but what aligns in the moment and moving forward? And so you really, the past, take the moment to look forward and then look at the future. Now we're going to talk about the present focus types. And one of the things I'm going to go through this negative side, but the one thing I want to get to is on a team, how this actually benefits the team to have a past, present, and future focused members on the team. There's none of these that are like, oh, you should be forward focused. If you are a goal getter, if you are a visionary, you need to be forward focused. You can have visionaries who are still past focused or present focused. It's more of our understanding of the world. It's more of the lens that we see things through. And so the more we understand this, the more we can act outside of what our reactions are. And so our present focused are our improvers, our supporters, and our loyalists, our 1, 2s, and 6s. So they are hyper focused on what's happening right now. They're alert to what needs are, what the mistakes are, what the risks are, and expectations in the current moment. And they can easily get overwhelmed feeling the responsibility for everything all at once. It becomes because everything that they take into consideration is based on the foundation of what's going on in this moment. So they're hyper attuned to needs, problems, or responsibilities of the moment. They often operate in high alert or high duty mode. They seem to be wound really tight and not able to rest in the moment. Now, the ability to rest, all the Enneagram types have a struggle with that. So it's not that if you have the inability to rest, you're present focus, because believe me, that's not true. But what it is that you are so focused on everything that needs to be done in the moment, your to-do list, your task list, your list of everything. And think about this, when you have a big project and you haven't even started on it yet. So just the punch list is so long. For a present focused, that all needs to be done immediately. The feeling, the responsibility of it. And so some of the common phrases that you may hear from your present focus type, or something that you may be saying to yourself is, I need to deal with this right now. I've got allergy issues going on, so there's some sinus pressure. What needs to happen next? I can't relax until it's done. If I don't handle this, who will? One of the favorite is, if it's to be, it's up to me. I know there's many times that goes through my mind. I'm like, okay, as someone who as a present focus and wants to get things done so I can rest, then these are things that I say to myself, or I feel, or I take the responsibility on is all the time. And so let me just fix it first. What if something goes wrong? I can't afford to mess this up. There's no time to wait. So these are some of the common phrases that it can indicate if you are a present focused orientation. And so some of the impact, the leadership impact here, some of the things that might be happening is you may get stuck in urgency, hypervigilance, or over functioning, which we know that's not a healthy place to lead from. This sense of urgency that everything is top one priority right now, when there's an order to things, and we know that not everything needs to happen at the very moment. Another impact maybe can be overly reactive. They may be carrying other people's weight because here they got someone who's future focused and someone who's past focused. They're still dwelling on how it was done before. The future focus, they will get to it later. And the reactive of it has to be done now. So I guess it's on me. And by carrying other people's weight, they miss strategic vision. They miss the long term. And some of the things we know work out on their own if we don't hyperfixate on them right now. And so a way to reframe this is, what's the bigger picture? Is it mine to carry right now? Is it yours to carry right now? There's a lot of times that I stop and I ask myself this: is this something that is imperative that I do it right now? When is this actually due? And in the long scheme of things, does this even really need to be done? Or will this take care of itself at a later date? And by asking myself those questions, I'm able to actually set things down that I know that really are not that important in the first place. And so finally, our future focused, our achievers, our enthusiasts, and our challengers. They typically are visionary and driven, but tend to skip the now. The details are not as important. They're always scanning for what's next, what's possible, or how to stay in control. And they avoid sitting still or slowing down. So even though they're not focused on what to do right now, they still avoid sitting down or slowing down. So it's really fascinating to me when I was reading about that, how they just in perpetual motion. So this is a lot of times when they're so busy, but they're spinning their wheels. And so they're always scanning ahead toward goals, escape routes, control, or new ideas. They're often restless or impatient, and they may avoid the present because it feels slow. So that's the difference here is a lot of times are you future focused or are you present focused? And it's the future. Future seems more exciting. It seems more, let's go there. Let's just get there, because the present seems slow, hard, or limiting. And so some of the common phrases is, I'll do it later. I'll get to it. I just need to keep moving. What's next? This is taking too long. I don't have time for this right now. I'll figure it out as I go. Let's keep going. We can come back to it. And I don't want to get stuck. So some of the impact that if you are leading or you have others in your groups that are the future focused is you may burn out by outrunning discomfort or moving without reflection. If we don't look at where we came from, it's hard to see where we're going. It's hard to see what we want to change, and we start to get into ruts. Also, when you are so future focused, you can skip reflection, dismiss other people's paces or miss vital steps. So you can, by not taking time to slow down, to look at, okay, what's working, what's not, what actual outcome do we need from this one task? And so by stopping and asking ourselves these questions, and also just the vital steps of, if you are working so fast, a lot of times you don't see things that are coming. And so a way to reframe this is, what does this moment need? And can you stay present just a little bit longer? You can ask yourself this, you can ask your teammates this, but it's really, can you stay in the present? What are we like? We need that vision. We need those goals. And we need to stay in the present in order to hash out some details. And so the real issue with this, so when it comes to time orientation, it really isn't a calendar problem. It's not about, are you always behind on tasks, like constantly working or putting them off till later? It's really a compass problem. So the idea that when your time focus is distorted or you're subconsciously working from your inner compass, it's spinning. So one of the ways I like to look at it is, if you live in the past, you're trying to fix things. If you live in the present, you're trying to control it. And if you are living in the future, you're trying to outrun it. But the leadership you're called into, it requires alignment between your identity and your focus and your action. And like all Enneagram work, this is meant to bring awareness to your reactions, your daily habits, your actions. And it's not meant to put you in a box and become an excuse of, that will always be this, that'll be the way you do everything. When we know better, we can do better. And one of the reasons we start with the negative side of it is, if you understand the negative, because we're human, we have a negativity bias where it's a survival instinct that we tend to go to the negative before we go to the positive. We have to actually invite the positive things. But when you are healthy, you can bring your time orientation to the strength as a strength to the table. So let's talk about how each time focus can benefit a team, and how having someone from past, someone from present, someone from future can actually elevate your team's experience and help you really become efficient, because you can work through all the time orientations quickly. So my past focus, again, 4, 5s, and 9s, my individualists or romantics, my investigators and my peacemakers, they bring wisdom, context, and reflection. So they bring the deep memory and insight from past experiences. They don't just put it out of their mind. Like, it becomes part of the experience that they bring on to the next activity. A meaningful reflection before action. How many times have you created a goal without vision, without reflecting on the why behind it? And so that's what our past focus types can do for us. And then also there's an emotional awareness and depth that would actually stabilize and bring thoughtful energy that balances the fast moving teams, because typically your present focus and your future focus are going to be a lot more fast moving than your past focused. Some of the things is like, let's make sure we're not repeating old mistakes. And here's what I've learned from this before. And they're really great at remembering what matters, honoring processes, which we know systems and processes make things work faster and more efficiently. And in this day and age, we need automation. And so this honors they honor the process, not this, they honor the process. And there's also, they're able to see an emotional undercurrent, what's going on. So having a past focused person on your team can actually benefit your team as a whole. Your present focus, your 1, 2s, and 6s, your improvers or reformers, your supporters and your loyalists, the benefit is responsiveness, diligence, and reliability. So they're able to move quickly based on the information that they have. So they bring strong awareness to immediate needs or problems. A lot of times it's like we have these problems that need to be fixed first, and then we can go out to the broader picture. So they have a strong awareness of what the immediate need is. The ability to step in, serve, and solve problems quickly, and the deep commitment to doing what's right now. And so they're also grounded in presence when the team feels scattered. And so when you have a lot of details, when you have a lot of things, typically the present focus can help us narrow down, this is where we need to go. Some of the questions that they automatically ask is, what do we need to take care of today? And who needs support right now? Our present focus types are great at identifying gaps. They're really good at protecting quality. So as we're trying to not redo mistakes from the past, and we're trying to go for these goals in the future, they can protect the quality. And then there's also stabilizing urgency in here. They're able to understand what's urgent, what's not. And then finally, let's talk about our future focus types. So our 3s, 7s, and 8s are achievers, our enthusiasts, and our challengers. They bring momentum, vision, and boldness. So we need to be able to move. If you are so stuck in today's problems, there's so many problems and issues right now that needs to be fixed before we can move on. If we have a team full of present focused, great. And you won't actually get anywhere. Like, it will be really challenging to come to a new goal, to a new vision, to get past all of the things for today, all the issues of today, to start working on tomorrow's. And our future focus bring the momentum, bring the vision and the boldness. They bring energy, drive, and action. Their willingness to challenge the norms or initiate change. Because sometimes if it's worked before, then let's do it again. And we know in this day and age, change is happening so fast that if we are stuck in doing the same way, the same things over and over, have the same beliefs, have the same thoughts, and we're not able to step into these changes, we know we get left behind, and it becomes irrelevant, unfortunately. Like, we need to bring the past, but we also need to be able to drive to the future. And so they are willingness to challenge norms and initiate change. They're also forward thinking for ideas, and they have contagious optimism. Like, they are so focused and so ready to go for the goal that like nothing's going to get in their way. And they have the confidence to take risks that others may hesitate on based on what happened in the past or what the needs are right now. They're able to take a few more risks than the other time focuses. And so some of the things that they say and they bring naturally is, what's the next move? Let's move. We can't sit. This can't sit forever. We need to get it moving. We'll figure it out as we go. And so they're great at building momentum, solving fast problems, and pushing past limitations. And these limitations typically are finding the past who are trying to understand what is by what was, the present who's seeing so many problems that they have to fix before we can move on. And the future types are able to say, okay, I see the problems. We can work on those as we go. But if we don't start moving, if we don't push past these limitations, we're never going to get anywhere. And so a healthy team actually has all three perspectives present. And leaders who know how to honor them and integrate them are actually going to go further. And so if you are looking and you are trying to build a team, it's not just the matter of having an instinct, having a head center, having a gut, head, and heart center on your team. You also want to bring in and have an understanding of, okay, who is forward focused or future focused, excuse me, who is past and who's present focused, and how can we use their strengths to get us to the best possible outcome, to the best possible result. And when we do this, when we take this time to understand our people and ourselves, when you understand, like, I know that I am a present focused. So I have to take time to reflect on the past, as well as when I have the goals, I have to say, okay, today I'm going to get this one thing done, but then I'm going to take 3 steps towards my goal. I'm going to push past my limitation, push past the discomfort, and really step into what I want. And so we can ask ourselves, because all 3 of these are needed. If you're a present focus, you need the past and you need the future. If you're future, you need the present to get things done right now. Otherwise, you're just going to push things you're going to push the can down the line and never get things done. Or you're going to be, or you haven't looked at how is it done before? How do we honor the systems and the processes, and what worked and what didn't? Because that can cut through a lot of time as well. And you can save yourself a lot of time and money by understanding all 3 of these, by bringing this into an understanding. And so I thought it was really important that I shared this. I thought it was really important to talk about this. And the month of September, I'm going to do some things with the Enneagram, some things that I am seeing with teams that I'm working with, some of the things that if they understood some of these basic concepts, then we're able to elevate a team, understand of how to organize and who to bring on a team together, and how to make a best team possible. And if you already have a team, by simply asking these questions and bringing context to it, you're able to work and understand each other. You'll understand why there's some frustration when a past focused is, hey, like, we need to make sure we're not repeating old mistakes. And the future is like, hey, we're just going to go. And if it's a mistake, we'll fix it later. You can see why there's some frustration there. And that's not what I want for you. So this is Circuit Core. If you want some more information about this, get on a call with me. Let's do a strategic leadership strategy call. Let's talk about what your focus is. Let's talk about how your past, your present, or future focus has either benefited you or held you back in ways. Let's talk about how you can elevate your team by understanding these like simple concepts. As you can, it's not like you're going to need to study this for a long time, but by understanding it and incorporating this, you're actually able to move faster. And in this world where change is happening and information is in abundance, action is what's going to make the difference. All right, friends. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited about where this podcast is going. I have gotten such good feedback about this rebrand to a Leader's Purpose podcast, and I'm just excited to be here with you. If you haven't followed me on LinkedIn at Tami Imlay, Tamimlay, connect with me there and send me a DM. If you want to get on my calendar, TamiMarieCoaching.com/call. Sorry, forgot what it is for a moment. I'm telling you, sinuses. It's been raining all of a sudden. The weather is amazing, and I love rain. I don't know if you've listened to old podcasts, you'll know how much I love rain. But one thing I'm not loving is all of this sinus pressure going on. Anyway, friend, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And choose joy until joy chooses you. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.